Tonight's news cycle and today's news cycle
There you go.
dominated by a pair of the most intriguing and elusive figures in North America over the past 12 months. Kawhi Leonard and Robert Mueller. Now I understand they might not seem all that related, but when you break it down, there is a little in common.
Hit me.
Both had the public waiting on their decision for what seemed like an eternity. Both were completely silent through the process, and all of the endless media reports speculating on what they would eventually do with the information that they had in front of them were completely wrong. There was one big difference, however. One big difference, however. The Clippers' introduction of Kawhi and Paul George had much more of a celebratory feel than Mueller's testimony.
Just a little.
On Capitol Hill.
Just a tiny bit.
I'm pumped to say hello as Clippers to Paul and Kawhi. Come on! Come on! Come on! Get up! Come on, get up! If you're psyched as I am, get up! Yeah!
You know, for me, I just feel like, you know, with Doc being a championship head coach, you know, that's something that I wanted, experienced coach. And the front office is, you know, very transparent with me. You know, they want to win. I want to win again. And it's an opportunity for us to just build our own, you know what I mean, to make history. They haven't been to a finals. They haven't won a finals. So, you know, that was something big and exciting for me to, you know, make my decision.
Well, I'm more enthralled with a very enthusiastic clap from Steve Ballmer.
Pull out my eye. I forgot how loud it was.
Oh my God, does he clap well? Woo! Attaboy, Steve Ballmer.
No lie, there was a point where I turned down the volume because he was speaking, and then I turned it back up, and it turned yours up too because the other tones from everybody else were so off compared to Steve Ballmer.
The
today.
levels were not matching up. We'll get to that. Listen, what happened here was he answered Kawhi, Doc. I don't even think Lawrence Frank was asked a question in the midst of all this. Ballmer wasn't asked. There were just a few questions. Most of them were softballs, and Kawhi and Paul just swung. But one of the first things Kawhi did was say thank you to Toronto.
You know, I want to thank the Toronto Raptor fans. You know, I don't have social media, so I'm not able to put out you know, paragraph or whatever, but like I was gonna say, just thank all Toronto, the city, the country. You know, it was a great, amazing season, best parade ever. Thanks to the doctors for, you know, delivering my baby boy. He's 3 months now, still healthy. I also would just want to, you know, thank the city as far as the restaurants, you know, giving up that Kawhi and dine throughout the playoffs. Took advantage of that. You know, the players, they already know what's up. You know, text, FaceTime me, we'll talk. Coaching staff as well. And the whole organization, really. Just thank the whole city. Thank you.
Kawhi's funny, man. I think we learned that over the last year. Like, Kawhi's got humor in him for a guy that was perceived to be so silent all the time, you know?
I think he discovered that over the year in Toronto.
I think so, too. I think so, too.
And I think he adapted the fun guy mentality. I don't know if he knows this, but I just hit Kawhi Leonard on Twitter. There is a verified account with Kawhi Leonard's name on it.
When's the last time said verified account tweeted?
Does he have it? Yes.
Yeah.
That's right there.
He does. He does have it.
2015 is the last time.
But that's what I mean. You know what? It strikes me as a very Kawhi move to have forgotten his password and then just not cared anymore to, like, reset it, you know?
I think Twitter would be able to help him out if he really wanted to walk down.
I'm sure, but I just don't think he cares.
Okay, what did we expect from this news conference? Because in the end, and I know if you didn't see the news conference, if you were otherwise occupied, you're like, give me more. I want to hear more. Well, there wasn't really much here.
There really wasn't.
There was like 7 questions in total on the open mic, and most of them were, and I'm not trying to be mean or crude, it was just softballs. What's it like to play in LA? How excited are you to join this team? It was almost as if the Clippers had asked people before they asked their question what it was going to be. And they were all local reporters that asked the questions.
That was what was interesting to me as well. There were some Canadian reporters there who I imagine had some good questions lined up, but it was pretty quick, right? When they said last question, I was like, really? Like, we just got here, you know? 5 guys spoke on a podium, and we've taken 5 questions. And so with that said, all things considered, I thought Kawhi handled himself pretty well. I thought starting with the thank you to Toronto was necessary and something that a lot of fans were waiting for as well. Now, I see some reaction online that says, oh, he could have taken out a newspaper ad, he could have done this, he could have done that. Just didn't feel like a Kawhi Leonard move to do all of those things, you know? And so
this felt more like Kawhi Leonard.
It really did feel more like Kawhi Leonard, to be honest with you, to go up there in a public forum and say thank you to the team that, you know, nursed him back to life and got his baby healthy, et cetera, et cetera. So with that said, I was pretty comfortable with that. I would like for him to maybe have talked about why LA offered a more competitive situation or more of a comfortable situation to compete than Toronto did, because I'm still confused as to that, if winning is his sole motive. But overall, I thought he handled himself generally well, and I thought it went almost how I expected it to go.
You and I were kind of like combing through it as it went, trying to find a clip that would interest the audience, and the closest we got was the silence from the Clippers. Here's the clip on the Clippers being silent, which is kind of fitting.
A lot of things are made up now in today's world of the NBA. You could, you know, start a website or blog and, you know, push that out and say Kawhi's doing this, Kawhi's doing that. But it's always important to me to, you know, have a mutual understanding between everyone and just be transparent if it's good or bad. And, you know, I feel like that builds a great relationship. Once we had our meeting, I felt like they were true to their word. Nothing really got out.
So do you think any of that, and because again, we heard that the leaks, et cetera, and the things, the details that emerged from meetings would have gone against teams that are in pursuit of Kawhi, Toronto, LA, notably, obviously, the Lakers rather, the ones that didn't get him. You think that's a shot at any of those?
Yeah, the Lakers.
The Lakers, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And I think that him being in LA would center his, you know, like, listen, he doesn't seem like someone to me that is consumed by what is said on Twitter and or in the media, but being in LA, we've seen him get heckled by Laker fans.
Today.
Right?
Today.
So I think that was front and center for him, and that's the shot at Magic Johnson. And we said on this very desk, when it happened, that was going to cost the Lakers, and apparently it did cost the Lakers.
And we heard him as well say, well, over the last couple seasons, the Clippers have been the better LA franchise as well, so already taking some shots, basketball-wise, I guess, at the Lakers. Did it bother you that there was no thank you to guys like Masai or the ownership group or Alex McKechnie or Nick Nurse or any of the personal figures?
Thank you, doctors.
Yeah.
Here's what I will say. I don't care about any of that stuff.
Right.
I really don't. I understand if fans do. I don't really care about it. Fans want to hear what they want to hear, and that's why Stephen Young's story on Sportsnet.ca was real interesting to me. And in fact, we had the exact same conversation after the show yesterday. What question do you want to hear asked of Kawhi Leonard at this news conference? And now that we didn't get any of them asked, I almost feel more like because for me, I wondered what Raptor fans really wanted to hear out of this. And that's why I think the question is interesting and maybe the answer. Because all I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Raptor fans, this is the beauty of this show, at Tim and Sid on Twitter. Did you just want to hear thank you and you guys made it real close, but I wanted to go home? Or I was going home all along?
All along, yeah.
And you guys made it a lot closer than I thought it was going to be? Because I don't know what makes you feel better if you are a salty Raptor fan, and for some reason I feel like there's a lot more salty Raptor fans than there should be.
And which is why I don't think anything would have really made them feel better, to be honest with you. I really wanted, and I know we probably wouldn't have gotten the answer even if it was asked, like the question I brought up after that first clip that we played, like what makes the Clippers a more stable basketball situation than what the Raptors just gave you. You know, if winning is your ultimate goal, why the franchise that was the laughingstock of the NBA for so long versus one that just helped you win an NBA title? You know, and then again, I don't think we would have gotten an answer out of that, but I mean, this team is pretty good as well, right? I mean,
I don't know how good this team is.
Really?
Yeah.
Because a lot of that team was good without Paul George and Kawhi Leonard.
They didn't kill their death. But I thought, listen, maybe I'm biased because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
I know. That's a big loss.
They won some games. They surprised some people. Did you expect them to make real noise in the playoffs?
They won 2 games against the Warriors, including 2 on the road, right? In Oracle. I think that's a significant deal, and I think that says a lot about the coaching and the foundation of that team, the change that the Clippers franchise has kind of embodied since Steve Ballmer's taken over.
Doc Rivers has been there for a while.
Yep. Yeah. He's coached some good teams there too, as well, though, right? Like I know
they're good.
I know
don't
they
know how good
perennially
enough
fell
they are.
short with Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, and the whole Lob City thing blew up. But considering what they did this year with that group of talent, trading Tobias Harris a year after trading Blake Griffin, it speaks a lot.
They
to
overachieved.
They did overachieve, right? Now they have 2 guys that'll.
Would you
carry
argue, though, that the Celtics 2 years ago overachieved? And then when they added stars, the overachievers felt like they were pushed back and didn't achieve as much as they did previously.
Yeah, and it feels like that team, this Clippers team, with
that's what scares
Lou
me.
Williams, Pat Beverly, guys who have some sort of ego, not ego per se, but they need the ball in their hands, right? And if they're not getting it, it might force things out the other way.
Lou's used to coming off the bench. So any other questions? We asked Tim and Citizens. Jim wrote in and said he finally thanked the Raptors, the fans, and Canada.
I think that was part of it.
Time to begin a new chapter. Hashtag Tim and Sid. Hashtag We the Champs. Hashtag We the North. There's a lot of hashtags.
A lot of hashtags there. A lot of hashtags.
Sean
Wants everyone to
Simmons
see
just
it.
wanted to ask, where's Dennis? We have a couple of questions for him. And I think he's referring to Uncle Dennis.
Uncle Dennis, who got a shout out in the presser today as well from Lawrence Frank.
Yes, he did. Tony wrote in and said, now people can just move on from wanting a thank you. It reeks of wanting to be liked. We won a title. No reason to be salty anymore. Ice wrote in and said, put a paragraph or whatever. He says something here, and I know what the abbreviations mean, folks.
I know.
And just move on from them very quickly. He can take out an ad in the paper. He could send something out to the Raptors to post on his behalf.
That's
There's a
not
lot
how
of
this
ways
works,
that he could
though,
do
right?
it. What?
That's just not how this works.
It's not how it works?
No, what's he going to send something through the Raptors to put out? Like, that's. He did it in a person. This was as personal as you can get from Kawhi Leonard, I think. I thought that was good.
That might be saying something there. And Sarah says, Kawhi, what's your reaction to the allegations that your uncle and Representative Dennis Robertson asked for all sorts of under-the-table inducements outside the bounds of the NBA collective bargaining agreement to sign with teams? Sarah comes
Good
in
question.
hard.
Boom.
Real hard. I like it.
You know what he would have said? I have no comment to that.
I want to know, first off, to me, we're going to go a little long here, and I apologize to the producers here. Is it refreshing that a guy who lives in the 2019 NBA world of thirst traps doesn't let anything out, and his thank you is like 13 seconds at a podium in Los Angeles instead of doing the thing where he writes the thing in the,
It is.
Players
it's
Tribune.
A throwback. It is a throwback to a different time, a time that no other athlete lives in right now beyond Kawhi. I like it.